Comparing Poems, Guided Close Read. You will read 3 poems that reflect on different aspects of work and the role it plays in people's lives. The first poem celebrates the urbanization of the city of Chicago at the turn of the 19th century. The second poem reveals the purpose of work in a widow's life. The last poem describes the determination of a mother who used work to achieve a goal. Chicago, Guided Close Read. Figurative language is language used imaginatively in ways that go beyond the literal meanings of the words. Personification is language that gives human qualities to an animal, object, or idea. Reread lines 1 through 5. How does the poet personify the city of Chicago? Find the specific words and phrases he uses. Pause while you think. In the first 3 lines, the poet describes the city as being many different kinds of workers. The poet also gives the city human physical characteristics, such as husky and big shoulders. What impact do these descriptions have on the tone or feeling of the poem? Pause while you think. The descriptions suggest feelings of admiration or awe. Epithets are descriptive words and phrases that are sometimes added to or substituted for a name. Reread lines 23 through 26. What do the epithets in these lines suggest about Chicago? Pause while you think. The many different types of jobs they represent suggest that Chicago was a booming industrial city. What is the impact of the epithets at the end of the poem? Pause while you think. Because the epithets were also used to begin the poem, they emphasize the importance of workers. Find work. Guided Close Read. Notice that lines 1 through 5 are printed in italics. This group of lines is an epigraph, a brief quotation at the beginning of a text. An epigraph often suggests the theme of a literary work. Reread lines 1 through 5. In what way might the epigraph suggest the theme for the poem with the title, Find Work? Pause while you think. Dickinson's poem suggests that everyday tasks can be important in someone's daily life. The need to find work can be of comparable importance. The form of a poem is the way in which the words and lines are arranged on the page. Form may also involve patterns of rhythm and rhyme. Reread lines 6 through 19, focusing on the pattern of rhyming words at the ends of lines. Describe the pattern and explain its effect. Pause while you think. Lines 6 and 8 rhyme. Young, tongue. Lines 7 and 9 rhyme. Fruit, mute. The pattern is repeated in lines 10 through 13 and in lines 14 through 17. The pattern gives the poem a regular rhythm. How does the form of this poem differ from that of Chicago? Pause while you think. Chicago does not have a rhyme pattern. How does the form of each poem contribute to its meaning? Pause while you think. The structured form of Find Work reinforces the idea that the speaker's grandmother gave structure to her life through work. The unstructured form of Chicago suggests that the city has a toughness that can adapt to any situation. My mother enters the workforce. Guided Close Read. The form of a poem is the way in which the words and lines are arranged on the page. Some forms of poetry, such as a sonnet, follow fixed rules for number of lines, rhyme scheme, and meter. Other forms of poems do not follow set rules. These poems are called free verse. Reread lines 1 through 23. Analyze the lines, rhyme, and meter of the poem and tell what kind of poem it is. Pause while you think. The lines of the poem are different lengths, and there are no set patterns of rhyme or rhythm. Therefore, the poem is free verse. How does the poem's form contribute to its style or manner of writing? Pause while you think. Free verse allows the poem to sound conversational, as if the speaker is directly addressing a friend.